Yeah. Test, test. All right. So for Cobra pose, what does Cobra pose strengthen and what does it lengthen? What does it stretch? Abdominals, yes. And what are we strengthening? The whole back body. We can look at it as all strengthening the whole back body. So this is something that's very important to be able to distinguish when you feel something, what is going on? Is it compression? Remember, we talked about compression, this bone on bone feeling, or is it a stretch? Like, am I stretching or am I feeling it? So, as an example, the side bend, a lot of people say, yeah, I'm feeling it here. The side is not doing anything. You're feeling compression. You're feeling your rib come to your hip, or you're just feeling that uncomfortableness. So, where the work is would be on the opposite side. But sometimes people can't feel their body holistically. And this is what yoga also helps with. And, but yeah, they're like, yeah, I'm feeling it here. Yeah, but what are you feeling? What are you feeling? So, knowing very well what you're feeling in your body so that you're able to translate this. Because think you're a guide and a translator essentially for these shapes. So, you have to know them very well because when someone's like, oh, what does this mean when I feel this? You can put yourself in it and you can be like, oh, that's compression on that side. You're going to be able to give them. And then, I mean, there's all obviously things that we couldn't possibly know, but you must. So there's quite a few variations for the Cobra pose. Um, the most common problem is compression in the lumbar spine, too much compression in the lumbar spine. So that's that feeling when we arch back and we just feel that jamming. Some people with not experience in the body, I'm stretching in my back. It's not a stretch. So again, being able to, while you're guiding and talking your students through the pose, and stretch through the abdominals, engage through the glutes, squeeze into the ground. So if I'm squeezing something, I'm not stretching it, you know? So if you repeat this again and again, there's no way that they're going to know. I had a client, he was a guy, he was like an airhead, like a bimbo. He's really, really cute. And then he was just like, oh, I was like, yeah, your breath is like, you're not breathing in your lungs. He's like, is it because I eat too much chocolate? I was like, what? Like, I didn't even know how to answer that question. I was so confused. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's because I eat too much chocolate. I was like, he's like, that's the only unhealthy thing that I do. And I was like, but how, but how do they go together? I go, well, how do you think they connect? He's like, I don't know. I was just thinking it's something unhealthy that I have. And so his breath was that. And then I was like checking in his trap. And I go, dude, what's going on? Your trap is super jacked. Like it's so like, you have, are you driving a lot? And he's like, yeah, I drive to Hurghada and back all the time. So it's this whole side is gonna because you're driving foot, right? So this I was like, so are you, I can tell where people or what they're doing a lot for. I've been working in the body a long time. So I was like, and then he was like, oh, is that from the chocolate? I'm like, what? Like, so he just thought he had this idea that he was eating too much chocolate and it wasn't making him fat, but it was causing some type of problem. And he was like, is that from the chocolate? I was like, balash the chocolate. Yani, forget the chocolate. It's not like, that's this. And he was like, oh. And he's like, why did I think that? I go, I don't know. I don't know why you thought that. I was wondering that too. I don't know why you thought that. Yeah, because so people, and this man is educated and smart and like and cute and nice and smart. Thought chocolate was the problem for his tight muscles and his why he wasn't breathing fully. So trust me when I tell you, people do not know their bodies. They don't know what's going on. Yani barely know what's going on. So this is why we have to be there to be their guide. We don't have to go so deep like a doctor or a nurse, but again, trying these things on our own body, observing our own body, how different things affects us is going to help us be a lot more empathetic and understanding and be able to answer questions for other people who come to us with questions. Again, it's not your responsibility to answer everyone's questions either. You can say, go check Google, dude. Everyone's got a phone in their hand. They can check Google. But if you are anything like me, I like to hear it from a real person, any answer. Again, like Sadhguru was saying, for those of you who want to find out on your own, not just be told, here's the answer. You're like, okay. Um, what if that's not a sufficient answer? You want to go find out. You're like, I'm going to go find out. So that is what it is to be a yogi, is to go find out. And how do we find out? By experimenting on our own self. So let's go through, I'll break down all of the forms of the Cobra, how to offer it to people, and contraindications. Again, too much, we know right off the bat, too much compression on the lumbar spine. So as I come down onto the floor, I will always encourage people to walk their hips. Oh, you know what? I need to pee before before I'm in this shape. I was like, oh. Feel free to stretch or shake yourself. I'll be 2 minutes. So if someone asks you what is a chakra, what will you tell them? Oh, hand cream? No, but unrelated. If someone asks you what's a chakra, what are you going to say? Ah, yeah, what will you tell them now?
You have major 7 chakras.
You can even leave out just tell them their energy center.
7 chakras starting from the downside.
Yeah, we usually say.
The root chakra, and then the sacral chakra, then the solar plexus chakra, then the heart chakra, then the throat chakra, yes, then the third eye, and then the crown chakra.
Oh, bravo. But what is it? Well, what is a chakra?
It's like energy center points to radiate energy throughout the body.
Perfect. That's the end of the explanation. Okay. Yeah, you can just say they're different. We have 7 primary energy centers that correspond with different colors and different energetic centers. Here, let me start again. We have 7 different energetic centers that correspond with different colors and different organ meridians. So the chakras also stimulate our different organs.
Organ meridians.
Yes, the meridians. And then that's if they're like, what's an organ meridian? That's you're like, do you know Chinese medicine? If they're no, you're like, go see Google. You did your responsibility. Go see Google. There's also, you have to remember, a student, sometimes they will keep you there all day and be like, ask you this and ask you that. And you're like, this and this. Okay, cool. Check on Google. Let me know what you find out. Bye. That's a good way to put it. All right. So going into Cobra pose. So anytime that I come to any belly down poses, we're going to walk ourselves back. So we did the Ardha Shalabhasana, the one that was belly down with the leg up. We did that one. Again, the same cues will be anytime that we come down. So when I bring people to belly down, usually I'm up like this because I'm talking to you. Usually I would bring them with the arms in front. I'm bringing the head to rest down. So from here, allow yourself to walk your body long, walking the hips back. Take into account the full length of your body. So from here, if you feel like it's uncomfortable on the floor for your pubic bone, feel free to double up your mat or put a blanket under it. So sometimes if you squeeze your glutes in this position, you press your pubic bone into the floor, right? You can feel that. So sometimes this is really, really, really painful if you're pressing hard. So you can tell people that they are welcome to add extra padding. That's step one. So just like we set up with mountain pose, this is how we set up when we're in our belly down pose. So with the forehead down and the arms forward, I'll say now adjust your shoulders, pulling your shoulders into your back because it's easy that the shoulders could have risen up while we're here. So just like when we're standing, allow shoulders to slide into the back. Bringing the legs closer together, pressing energy through the feet. So I'm pressing the tops of my feet into the floor, and I'm doing this by I squeeze my thighs, I squeeze my glutes, and it really kind of makes me feel like a straight line. So I'll press my glutes, press my hips into the floor, and we want to make sure to make contact with the tripod of our hip, which is our two hip bone, and our pubic bone, down on the floor. So if I really squeeze my glutes, my legs can even lift off the floor a little bit, extending back. Do you guys feel that? If you really straighten your legs, they're going up off the floor a little bit. So we'll start with baby cobra, this little one. Some people, this is their first option, and I offer it as first option. When you're working with people that know the options, then you can say, take your option of cobra that you like. But if they don't know, I start them here. So with the forehead down, we'll just inhale, lengthen from the crown of the head, reach the crown of your head away from your feet. So that's different than just lift up your head. If I do that, I'm just arching my neck. Okay, and you can see like my neck is like broken back. And we don't ever want this. We want the line, the crown of the head to come up. So I engage, I squeeze my body, I inhale, I'm looking down still. Lengthen, press through your feet, press through your legs, lengthen, feel your body, a straight line of energy. Inhale to come up as much as you can with the breath, and then exhale down. Coming down all the way, relaxing. Inhale, prepare, squeeze the glutes, lengthen through the legs, lengthen through the crown of the head, engage through the back. Feel the muscles between the shoulder blades squeeze together as you come up. And exhale down. So for people who are sitting in very forward-facing positions, office work, even this is a lot of work for them. So coming up again, inhaling. And exhaling down. So I'll just move them. Baby cobra, one breath up, one breath down. And then final inhaling up. And exhaling down. So that's variation for baby cobra. If that's what you're going to have in your sequence, at that point, then you would tell them to take it back into child's pose. We're going to do a few more before we child's pose it. So next option, you can have when they bring the head up. Here we were coming to forehead down. Another option is that they turn their head to one side when they come down. So you can turn your head to one side as you come down. Inhale up, looking straight down at your hands. And as you come down, turning your head to the other side. So just be sure to balance it. And then if we did 4, I would turn my head one way, one way, one way, one way. Okay, each side. Next, we're going to go into Sphinx variation of the Cobra. So it's important to keep in mind that we're in Hatha land. So what does that mean? Everything's active. Yes, everything is active. We're not yinning out because yin has a Cobra too, and it's yinning. It's melting. So we're active when we're in Hatha sequence. And if you're going to do yin sequence, tell them it's yin sequence. but it may or may not fit at the time. Depends on your class, it depends on your people. So coming into the Sphinx variation, we have to all be good at this. It's our country. So we'll bring the elbows under the thighs, or sorry, elbows under the shoulders, press down. And so think of the statue of the Sphinx. The hands are pressed down. So my hands are not like, not engaged. Pressed, fingers broad, pressed down. Here I have more curve happening in my upper back, or my upper and lower back. So I have more compression in my lower back. If people are like, oh, my back is uncomfortable here and they're kind of struggling, say, okay, now as you come up onto the elbows, engage your glutes, squeeze, lengthen the legs. So just like we did, lengthen, feel the legs extend in a straight line behind you, and feel that line of energy curve up your spine and out the top of your head. A common mistake that you see here is people do this with the chin forward. So I'm cranking my head back. We want the chin down, and we want to, it's like pulling from the crown of the head, shoulders slide down the back. This is a great time to do the cue of the collarbones. Check your collarbones if they're coming together, widen them, broaden them, pull the shoulders. And as though you're trying to slide your body forward, I'm pulling myself forward. I'm that activated. So I'm here and I'll hold for 4 breaths. And reaching, reaching, reaching. So just like when we take mountain pose, it looks like we're standing, but we're like strong. It's the same thing in Cobra. We're like lifting. And inhale, lengthen, press the forearms into the floor. And exhale, you can release your arms, put your head down. Also, you're welcome to turn your head to one side. So you can give them that cue. Another cue is to say they can put 2 fists, their 2 hands in the front of them like this, to rest their head. Rest the side of the head, rest the forehead, and just rest. So we had baby cobra, we had Sphinx variation of the cobra. You can do it also moving. So remember we did the vinyasa lab earlier. How could you forget? You can put cobra. This is how I would do cobra as a vinyasa. I would choose one of the moving ones. I would come down. I would inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, whatever variation, exhale down. And you can, that's how you can keep it moving if you want to keep more in that energy. Final King Cobra is you'll bring the hands onto the floor. You can bring them under the shoulders. I like to go a little bit wider than the shoulders because I like that wide feeling. And I'm going to really squeeze through my buns, support my low back. Press here, I have to adjust my length a little bit. I feel like I could adjust my length. And again, it's like I'm balancing something on my head. I'm squeezing and I'm pressing my chest forward because it's really easy to like hang like this. This is when we're in yin time. This is final expression of Cobra Yin, where we drop, we hang into the shoulders. In Hatha land, we don't want to hang into the shoulders. So we're like we have a tray on our head. We're balancing and hold, and I'm super squeezing the buns. So notice in this one, I didn't mention keeping the legs together because try to close your legs a little bit. You're going to see your low back is like, no. So naturally, our legs go, and also naturally, the thigh might rotate outward for more space for the pelvis to hit on the ground. So from here, pulling back, lengthening, pressing the press points. We're pressing from our feet. We're pressing from the crown of our head. We're also pressing from the center of our chest. Shoulder blades are down the back. Breathe and hold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, slowly bring it down. You can bring your hands in front and rest your head for a moment. And then bringing the hands under the shoulders, taking yourself up and back, creasing from the hips, taking it back into child's pose. So typically a lot of people go like this and they tighten their legs in child's pose. Say, as you go back in child's pose, you're welcome to widen the knees if it feels comfortable for you to create a little more space for your rest. And people are like, ooh, space for my rest. I love that, you know? So they're gonna get it. In child's pose, they don't have to be. An option for child's pose is actually to bring them when you want this full rest, is to bring them in and the palms go up. But when you come back into child's pose, this is the only one in our hatha where we are kind of yinning out in it. Yeah, good question. Yeah, so your hands can be extended, the arms can be out, the hands can even be under your head if you feel like you want that little support, like under your forehead, like we were in Cobra. And then a final version of the child's pose is with the arms at the side. That's like they're really sleeping. Do you ever see a baby sleep in that position? They are look so peaceful. So staying in child's pose. Go right into it. So yeah, in the pictures, I have my arms to the side, and then another one, I have my arms under. So it says from hands and knees, exhale, excuse me, and gradually sit back on your heels. Rest chest and torso comfortably on legs. So that would be if the legs remained together. And this is fine for someone, but I remember we were talking about ladies with bigger breasts, people with a bigger belly. Some days when I'm feeling more bloated, I don't want my knees right there. You might find, just notice where do you go naturally comfortably when you take child's pose. It's probably with a wider knee stance. So allowing your belly, because your body can also go between the legs a little easier. So just find your best resting. So you want to relax in child's pose. Definitely, definitely, definitely. For sore or stiff knees, sometimes just the being on the floor is not comfortable for people. Here, I'm going to put the heat back. The process of being on the, just kneeling on the floor, some people have very sensitive knees and they just can't take it. So you can encourage them to have a blanket underneath. So certain overweight people, pregnant women, women with big chests, they can start in table pose and taking the knees wide apart allows the chest and the hips to be able to sink in the belly. When you're ready to come up from child's pose, if the arms were in, slowly extend the arms forward, placing the hands, and we're going to roll up. So I kind of let myself roll up into the table pose. So then you can kind of come up and out of it, rolling up and out of it, and then taking yourself transitioning to whatever seat or pose is coming after that. I can't. Okay. So the certain indications or contraindications, there were that. You can also, if someone is like very, very big chested and they just can't simply get into any of those positions, you can offer them yoga blocks to put their arms on. So they're up a little bit higher. Still, it may not work. If they're really, really quite large, having a bigger cushion like that, something like that. Also, people maybe want to feel supported on a cushion like that. They can also be on a cushion like that. However they feel most comfortable. This is more like restorative, supporting it like that. Second. But it is a great transition pose. Again, from standing when you're going to the floor. If you inhale, forward fold, down into Cobra, back into downward dog, down into Cobra, back into child's pose, up into table, then you can decide, am I going to transfer back to standing or am I going to just flip myself from table? Because table's pretty easy position to do anything. And now I can go into my seated poses if I'm going to stay down on the floor. Usually I will do child's pose towards the end of my sequence, like how it is in your sequence. In the sequence A, I will do a child's pose as I'm going to the floor or after Cobra, and I've already made it down. I've already made it down to the floor. Oh, sorry. Yes. So it should be a resting pose. If one of your students tells you that they're stressed in child's pose, they need to do something else, whatever it is, even if it's just sitting. They're like, no, I'm stressed. It should be a calming position. So we can investigate why they feel stressed, or you can just give them something else. Just give them something else. What's stressing you about that? Oh, I feel pinching in my knee. So what if they can't be back pinching in the knee? Because like here, my knee's pinching. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Guide them to come up. Maybe they can do heart opener. Maybe if that's too far with the cushion or with blocks. And so they can get this down inward fold feeling sensation without so much bending on the knee. So sometimes people coming all the way back like this is not possible for them. So they need to be up more at a 90-degree. Everyone's knees are different. And sometimes it will surprise you the pain that people have in their body. You know, it will surprise you because number one, if you don't have it, you can't relate. You're like, oh, how's that happening? You know, but one thing people know is their pain. Maybe they are turning it up more also. We don't know. It's not for us to say. We just have to try to help them with the tools that we have as best as we can. Sore, stiff knees. They could have another option is to offer them blocks. So they're not going all the way back. It's still kind of back, but having them here or with a cushion under there, just something so they don't need to. And again, if none of your solutions are working, tell them they can rest on their back with bringing knees into chest if it's possible for them. Or they can sit comfortably. They now are in a resting position. Come to a position where you feel like you can rest easily. And that's like, not to sound dismissive, but that's the answer you'll give them after you've tried some things. Then you have to also remember how much time do you spend with one person if you have a class filled with people. With a smaller class, it might be easier and more acceptable. But if you spend a lot of time on it, sometimes in bigger classes, there's this like one or two really needy students. They should have booked a private lesson. And they just want all of the attention from the class and be like, okay, well, here's this. And now we're turning to the rest of the class. You have to let them know they're not the only person in the room. And if they require this level of attention, you can consider booking a private lesson. And it's not just a matter of trying to sell your services. Sure, that's a way to do it. But it's also like, you need more attention on this. Have you been to physio? Do you need to go to physio? So doing a little bit of investigating questions can be helpful, but don't take your whole class on one person trying to figure out their problem for any pose, not just child pose. But the main thing to remember is that it's a pose for relaxation. And if it's not comforting and relaxing, they need to do something that is. Any questions in child's pose? So press points, there's none. Woo! There's none. It's a natural extension of the spine. We want the spine to be like, that's the time. So the benefits of the child's pose, it's deeply nurturing and calming to the mind and emotions and gently opens the back, hips, ankles, feet, knees. Gently stretches the spine by pulling it very gently, squeezes the legs, massages the abdomen, relieves wrists from certain poses. If you were downward dogging for a while, you can put them into a child's pose for rest after. Increases flexibility in hips and legs, improves digestion and elimination. So remember wind relieving pose, we were talking about moving through the large intestine. This is putting pressure on the body. Relieves mild cases of gas, possibly helpful for hemorrhoids. Again, that passive feeling. Contraindications, again, like the other ones where we apply pressure to the abdomen, serious constipation, you know, the worst. Avoid after first trimester of pregnancy. After that, the legs must be separated in the pose to avoid pressure on the abdomen. So those points that we used for a larger body, larger bellied person could go into pregnancy. But again, like I said, for a pregnant lady, don't micromanage her unless she has a lot of questions. If she's very needy and feels unsafe and doesn't know what she's doing, that at that point you can recommend that she goes to prenatal yoga class if you don't feel comfortable. The challenge or common problem, students will not make an effort to find an optimal position. So that's like, is it, so where are you pinching? No, I just can't do it. You know, and you're, no, I just can't. So, okay, halas, you can't. Come in. I'm going to keep going, you know? So again, it's also your professional boundaries. Trust me, when you're new teaching, you're going to want to solve everyone's everything. You're going to be like, now's my chance. I'm going to help this person. And like, you're going to realize people can't be helped a lot of the time, or they just will keep continuing wanting. And if they're getting a lot from you, that's when you can be like, well, I do private lessons, you know, upsell. All right. So let's go back into Cobra pose.
One thing, it feels like an obvious question, but just to like keep short. Are we even like disengaging our core? Everything.
Yeah. Yeah, down. Yeah, everything. Yeah, it's resting. It's a resting pose. 100% resting. Anyway, so if people can't find a comfortable place to rest, you have to be comfortable in order to rest, Yanni, usually. Extreme cases, not. But yeah, if they can't rest there, get them into a place. Maybe they have to just lay on their side, just lay down, take a chill, sit comfortably, whatever, so that they can just rest for a moment. All right, so it's the 16th today. Coming to the belly down position. So again, when we're working with people with bigger bodies, bigger bellies, just simply coming to the floor sometimes is an issue. So remember I was saying my student that she had a modification for everything. She was amazing. She really had a modification for everything. She would put a pillow across her hips. Like if you ever go for a massage, when they put you on your face down, they'll put a pillow across your hips. She would put a pillow there. It just kind of like tented her hips a little, like tilted them a little bit. And that just made it so more of her belly could be, she had to like move to put more of her body on the ground. So we had our different options. If we're doing vinyasa, kind of, I was like, okay, work on your vinyasa this afternoon and like your vinyasa lab and flow and see about how I can keep my poses moving together. That little one, inhaling up, also Cobra, Sphinx variation of the Cobra, inhaling up, but never too passive. So if I'm releasing on an exhale, I have an inhale and I'm not necessarily going to stay there unless I'm going to go into yin time. If I was yin timing it, I would go for like 2 minutes again, because yin lower body, we want to do lower body stuff for like 4-6 minutes because it's big, heavy tissues. And the neck and upper back goes slower. So go half, 2 minutes, 3 minutes max. So our press points when we're in Cobra, hip bones, or the tripods of the hips, as we refer to it, the pubic bone and the 2 hip bones, the tops of the thighs to the floor. So when you squeezed your buns and you extended your legs straight back, you could really feel the legs pressing into the floor. And then the common problem and complaint is too much compression in the lumbar spine. So how do we relieve that? We engage the glutes a little more. And if it's still really unbearable for people, get them to come down. Just decrease the angle. Don't be in such an arc. Just decrease the angle. But also, even when we tell people to squeeze the glutes, sometimes there is a modern phenomenon of people's ass being asleep because people sit for so long. So sometimes you say engage their glute, they're like, what? Nothing's happening. So you have to keep in mind if you're going to do a practice with a lot of heavy glute focus, maybe you would in your warm up, maybe you would do a glute warm up. So how could I do a glute warm up? Depending on the health of your people, I could do standing bridges or not standing. It's a standing bridge anyway. I could do standing lunges, like basic lunges. I could do bridges, not standing, but bridge, like I'm down on my feet and pressing up. That's a really good exercise to engage the glutes. If people think their glutes are not firing or you are seeing the glutes not fire, so the bridge is like this one on the floor and then squeezing and coming up. That's a really good way for people to learn to turn on their glutes if they've been off for a while and feel them. If you have exercise bands, even better to put around the knees because it helps with the containment of the glute. Well, we might as well do this one while we're here. So the corpse pose or Savasana. So again, in our Hatha series, this is another one that is completely yinning out. Completely corpse pose. So laying on your back, lengthen the entire body, brush buttocks towards the feet. Okay, what does that mean? That means tilt under. So that means if I was here, coming to full down. Oh, I went there. So let me go. So I have to adjust myself. So here, my hips are tilted. So I said in this step by step, I said brush buttocks towards the feet. I'm tilting down. I'm like tucking down. So I'm not like in this position, just laying down. Often I will usually start students with their knees bent. This is way more comfortable for most people than just laying with the legs extended. But sometimes people want to have legs extended. So you can start here, usually before Shavasana. We'll do these ones. Maybe a knee down twist, and then they'll return with their feet on the floor. From there, you can say, and now slowly lengthen your feet along the floor. Allow your arms to open to either side, palm up. Now is a great time if you have another layer to, that type of stuff to prep them. And then they can also have the cue, turn your head side to side, lengthen your neck along the floor, tucking the chin gently, and allow the shoulder blades to rest. Feel yourself supported by the floor. Breathe and rest. So feeling heavy. I'll use that cue, feeling heavy. Allow yourself to feel heavy. This is a very valuable posture to do for a few moments at the beginning or at the end of your practice. Stay warm. You don't want to be cold in your Shavasana. So this is a really nice way to both start and to end. So think about different times when we've started on our back. Here, let me adjust the violent lights. The violent light. Better. And then allowing space for your students to do what they need to do. You can encourage them to turn your feet. Feel the rotation of your feet as your legs rest along the floor. And then separate the feet slightly wider than the hips. Allow your feet to flop to either side. Turn your palms up, resting a comfortable distance away from the sides of your body. Flatten the shoulder blades. Lengthen the back of the neck by rolling your head side to side. Relax. You're welcome to close your eyes. Rest and focus attention to your breathing. You can practice your soft ujjayi. So usually by the time I get to corpse pose, Shavasana, I'm like, there's no need to control or restrain your breath. Is usually what I'll say. Usually by the end of a practice, a full 90 minutes or 1 hour, your breath is going to be kind of flowing automatically by that time. So you can kind of just let them integrate. And then this is when you'll get into maybe reading a guided meditation. This is when you can read a sutra from the Bhagavad Gita. And now I'm going to leave you with a little yogic wisdom. You can do, whatever you want in this position, but stay present as a teacher. Here you're in the home stretch. You're almost finished. Resist the urge to check your phone when they're in Shavasana. And just just wait. There's some different ways. Here, where did I have this? So I would talk and I would use my timer for Shavasana. I would like to leave people for at least 4 minutes, to do something. So what are we doing in Shavasana? This is like the neurological closing. This allows your body to integrate what you just did. And I will use that in a little bit of my phrasing and sequencing. I'm like, okay, so now we're resting, feel supported by the floor. Allow your body to feel supported by the floor, your bones resting into the mat. As you breathe, feel the rise and the fall of your belly, sitting with yourself with this great work that you did today. You've oxygenated your blood. You've brought rhythm and movement to your tissues, lengthened the muscles, stimulated the lymphatic system, all amazing work and care that you've taken for yourself today. So at that time, you can be like, bravo, good job, guys. We did it. We took care of ourselves. Now we integrate. And so allow your body to take its new form. Allow your body to settle into its new shape from the work that you did. Allow yourself to integrate. And so I'll kind of go on and on and on. And then the last 2 minutes, 4 to 6 minutes, let's say, the last 2 minutes, I'll just be quiet. I'll just stay with breathing. I'll keep breathing to keep that entrainment, to keep us entrained together in that physiological chilling response. And then, but I will tell them at the same time, allow your breath to occur naturally. There's no need to control or restrain the breath in any way. Observe your breath as it enters in at the tip of the nostrils and expands the body and flows out again. And so here you can leave more space between your talking and let them chill. They just listen to all class. So after learning Shavasana, your students will add their own variations. So let them, as long as it's not something that they're like efforting, you want to see them making no effort. You want them to, so the benefits of Shavasana, it promotes stillness. We know that this is an issue in our fast moving world, promotes deep relaxation. It's contained relaxation. It's a time that you're saying, this is okay to do nothing. And I think a lot of us need more of that. It's an integration of all the systems and the energies of the body and mind, calms emotional disturbance. Says that 20 minutes of Shavasana is equal to be 3 hours of sleep. Contraindications would be untreated deep psychological problems. That would be like, that's contraindication of life is untreated psychological problems. But yeah, someone might not be able to stay still with themselves. And unfortunately, that is not something that you're going to know. If it's untreated, something they don't even know. Hopefully you don't have to deal with that. Common problems are people crossing their legs or folding their arms. So notice if they're doing that, ask them if they're cold, and if it's possible to have a blanket for them. It's really nice. Sometimes in Shavasana, we'll have the blanket at the side and your teacher will cover you up and like tuck your feet under. It's really nice. If you're not minding like being touched. Some people don't want touching at all. Like they're very like, like freak out about it, So you have to just gauge your relationship with your people. Other common problems, their eyes keep opening, looking around, waiting. Is it over yet? Huh? Falling asleep. It's okay. I do a lot, like I've told you before. It happens. It's okay, but doesn't produce optimal results. And skipping the deep breath if the teacher suggests it, and then some people just go doing their own thing. This could be some contraindications. So once you feel like your students have relaxed enough, shavasana enough, you can say, usually, this is what you can have. What did I do with that? Oh, you can have like a bell or some type of chime if you like. So I was always like, everyone would get so peaceful. And then I was like, I don't want to say anything and scare them. I didn't want to scare them. So instead, I did a little bell. So people are like ready to snore. You're ready to like pass out and fall asleep. And I would go. So I would do 1, 2, and just let it resonate. And then with that, people automatically, when they hear the bell, bring movement to the edges of their body, like you guys have mostly started to do. So you can think, and now bringing awareness back into your body, bringing awareness back into the room. You can extend into the edges of your body, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, wiggle your nose. Inhale and exhale. Sink deeply into the floor. From here, you can slowly expand your arms overhead, reaching yourself into a full body stretch. Lengthen and squeeze and rest into the floor. And slowly, as you're ready, rolling over to one side and pausing there. Take your time. You can say coming over onto your left side is a nice side to go on after practice. Why? This is the side that our heart's on. So it's like you're covering your heart, you're containing your heart, you're sheltering and keeping it safe. Take a few breaths here. And then pressing into your hands, slowly coming up into a comfortable seated position. Take your time. So use your hands to help you up. So what does that look like? It's when you're down on the floor. I'll put one hand down, press into the floor to help me. So sometimes you'll see people do this. Don't let them do that. You're like, whoa, back. I'm like, whoa, don't do that. Oh God. I have another client that comes for private yoga, and he is like very high-powered businessman. And then I'm like, he's like, I don't want to do yoga anymore. I want tea. And I was like, I don't care. Their class goes like this. We need to go up, we need to go down, and you need to do 2 more poses and you're relaxed. He's like, okay. I was like that. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I was like, no, we have to finish because we're in this sequence, I was like, no, you have to do your integration. And I don't want to. I was like, do your yoga. Do your yoga. So at that time, you can keep the shavasana short and concise, like I did. Did you go into somewhere else? Yeah, some other places. Yeah. And you can keep it short like that. That was under 8 minutes. Or that's when you can do a long guided visualization, but just leave time in your class for that. There's been many times, especially because I would teach like 3 classes back to back, yoga and dance and yoga and whatever I was doing. There would be time that I would be like, oh shit, like I need to wrap it up because someone's coming to the studio or I have another class. And yeah, at that point, I would have to like bring them out of the shavasana and try not to be too rushed about it, so keep an eye on your time at the end of class. Start to think that like you're closing. So again, like I told the student that wanted to stop, the class we have a warm-up, we kind of have our peak where the fire where we're burning, and then we come down into the floor poses and we're kind of like going out. You want to be in your, like, say you had just a 60-minute class, you want to be in your last in the last 20 minutes, like the child's poses at that time. So that will give you more than enough time to take them through a shavasana and not feel rushed, because it's really like, yeah, it's not nice. You want to not feel rushed at the end, because you don't want to be like, okay, and then we're doing this, and then you're like, at the, at the end. That's a really important part, is the shavasana. So you can decide to craft your meditation into that part if you want to offer it. You don't have to. You can have some classes, like today we're going to do a special meditation, because your practice, what you do at home, you're going to try some things that you're like, that was so cool, I really want to like tell someone about it. You're going to tell your students about it, so you're going to want to share your discoveries with your students. Do you know how many things that I'm working on that I would love to share with you guys, that I'm really like not holding out, if it's relevant to all because we have so much information to cover. I have so much new stuff that's like there, but I'm like, stick with the material. Like, this is my biggest challenge as the teacher, is that like, I'm an active learner. I stay active in my education because it's interesting for me. And so I'm always taking new classes, and I love to bring some of that stuff to my classes and be like, guys, like, I was doing this, it's so fun and cool, whatever, So now, because we have curriculum, I'm really like sticking to the curriculum and trying not to deviate, because
I'm curious about the energy work.
Ah.
That you're having. Well, that you're going to energy work.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about it.
Yeah, it's cool.
You may talk about it.
I will talk about it more, but I will tell you, it's the type of thing I give a lot of homework. So sometimes before people have more sensitivity, because the energy work takes more sensitivity, it's there all the time. We just have learned not to be aware of it, like a lot of things in our life. So yeah, practice, 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 and it will come, your sensitivity will come, and it will make more sense. Yeah, and it will make more sense. And not saying, because my process, I had a long process of body work. Everyone's process is different. But if I would have started with energy work, and I kind of did actually, like I started my journey into yoga as like from those books I was saying. And then in my area of the world, there wasn't a lot of other yoga teachers. There was people practicing Reiki, and so energy workers. And I went and I saw all these people very unfit, very out of shape. I was like, I don't care about anything they have to say. And that was me being a bit of an asshole, to be honest. Yeah, I can be a hater sometimes. Acknowledged. I know myself very well. So I was being a little bit of a hater, but also like, it didn't resonate with me at the time. It was too subtle. It's like also like when I was younger and I tried Pilates, I was like, this is so boring. Nothing's happening. But I hadn't developed that sensitivity in myself to see how much it was actually doing. I was still very external, and I hadn't had that sensitivity of dropping in and knowing what it was actually doing and feeling all my muscles. I wasn't there yet. So, it took me some time. And now when I do Pilates, I'm like, oh my God, this is like a gift from God. Pilates, Joseph Pilates, you're amazing, and I'm like, it does so much for the structure of my body, but it's now because I understand. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes. So,
it's not that there are.
And I'm not saying it's not your right time, but you'll get more from it. Let's come back to the discussion and practice and practice. But yeah, no, I love this world. I love this. Any questions about leading Shavasana or putting your students in Shavasana?
I wanted to ask about when you said music.
Yeah, soft, something in the background, that usually something with no vocals or ambient vocals. So nothing that competes with your own voice, something like that. You can even craft the soundscape, or even just have a music that you put on in Shavasana. Yeah. You can even have like some bells or water. Some yoga studios, you come in and they have like bells or water. I had some like ambient track, but then I was talking and I was getting distracted and I turned it off yet last night. But yeah, music is completely fine as long as you don't find it distracting for your own teaching. So it's like maybe like what I had, I just like let Spotify roll and I didn't know what was coming. So that's not what you should do. You should like have your curated, yeah, have your playlist. I used to have so many different yoga playlist and then a like ecstatic dance and then warm-ups and then like very categorized playlist. And I just haven't been in that mode in the last years at all. But yeah, music is super fine. People sometimes get like yoga music. There's particular yoga music. If you like it, tamam. But yeah, just something that's ambient is a good nothing with a beat because people are going to be like, you know, they're gonna start to like groove. Okay. Any questions going to your mind about what we did today? Anything? We had a lot of information today. I felt like 3 days. Actually, I'm like, we did like 4 different workshops, you know. So bravo. What else do I want to say on that? We'll be back. Let's come at 10 tomorrow. We're about like, I think it's like 7:20-ish right now. I don't think that I'm going to be able to like formulate any more clear sentences that well, and you guys would receive them either, you know. So I think we're good to stop. We had a very full day. Yeah, so we'll do more flow labs. So just like think about that, even when you're laying in your bed, just think about like how to flow and use your creativity, guys. Yes, we're working inside of the forms, but like maybe you want to do some other shoulder roll. It doesn't have to be linear when you're flowing. Okay. So just like again, it's what I'm trying to encourage when I'm saying use your creativity is intuitive movement. You know, just see where your body feels like moving. And then maybe it's not a yoga pose. Okay. So we're going to go into some different shapes tomorrow, a bit of circular shapes. I think we did it in the first weekend, but I'm going to kind of like segue that over into intuitive movement, creative movement, stuff that's not aesthetic, but can be aesthetic if you want it to be. And just again, for the joy of movement. Part of what's going to keep you practicing and going deeper into your practice is when you feel stuff that's rewarding in your practice, you know? So again, be creative. Maybe something that I really enjoy is not enjoyable to you. I'm just giving as many suggestions as I can, also based within this. So I'm really encouraging you to allow yourself to have creativity within your practice. You know, I'm not Iyengar. That's a teacher that like if you weren't doing like it right, he'd be like with a stick. Imagine in class, he's like, no. And you're like, ah. I would scream. I would be like, ah. So I'm not Iyengar, you know. I do have like standards. You know, we have standards here, but like there's also a lot of room for your own self and your own personality and your own enjoyment. And like as a person who has mostly my education has been self-directed, like I never went to universities. I've been in programs, but these are all self-directed programs, you know. So what I get out of it is how much I put into it. And I never want to be in a program that I'm like, I wish I wasn't there. Why would I do that to myself? It's all self-directed. So just remember that you put yourself here, try to find a way to like make it work, that you get something that you want in a positive way from it. But above all, really, really get into your practice. So with that, I'm going to say namaste tonight. For tomorrow, go through the poses that you did in your teaching today. We're going to do that again tomorrow and then come back with the same poses. You can come back with different ones if you like. You can do different ones also, but all of the same points apply. So just more presence. Don't leave so much open hanging space for the students, especially like at the beginner level, because you're going to be having beginner students. They're wondering everything. So don't make them wonder if you left the room without enough dialogue. The breath presence, really, really focus on that. And Yeah. And then we're going to have different pranayam tomorrow, a little more philosophy, another movement lab, and we're going to finish learning any poses that we didn't look at. And I have to look at the list to see what they are. But with that, we'll have completed, I think, most of the poses.
Should I repeat them also, or should I make another state activities?
What did you have? Leave out.
Stress relief. So why didn't they?
Go with the instructions, the original instructions. So 4 breaths, so just teaching the poses, not in a flow. The flow will do a different project, but to focus on for your homework, like what to improve, go into the original assignment. So we stand, we hold for 4 breaths, we integrate for 2 breaths in between. So leave out Savasana, leave out Nadishona. Just 4 poses. They can be any of them, not child's pose, not Shavasana, not child's pose, all of the other ones. And even it's not a bad idea if there's any poses that you don't like or you're finding difficult, do that one. Like that's usually showing like a resistance or a barrier. So, and then that's one that you can get like immediate feedback on of how can I improve it, you know? So also think of it that way. I'm directly looking at this one. I'll go into all of them with you, of course, and we will by the end of the training. But if there's ones that you're just kind of like they're a little weird or off or just don't like them as much, bring them in because we're going to have to cover all of them. Mishi? So we'll start at Diza. But yeah, there was a lot today. I was like, well, even my words are mixing. The ideas are mixing together. Or I hear it different in my mind and it comes out differently from my mouth. So yeah, we'll have another yoga philosophy component. And we will continue. Yoga Humanities module is technically what that is. But yeah, I'm trying to like do them as workshops and not extend over 2 hours